Hey there, Green Knights! My name is Jess, and I am the voice behind Green and Garb's own Vahera Alistair, and I am going to be walking you through our makeup routine. You'll see me here, camera right, alongside my fearless companion, the voice of Basil Damascus, our party's Rune Knight, as we begin the process of getting into character. Now, my character has red eyes, so my routine always begins by first applying colored contacts to my eyes. Always a tricky process, and usually one that takes me a little bit of time, as you can see. You'll see my friend Morgan over here using a piece of fishnet stocking over her face to add the scale effect to her character, bringing out those snake scales with some vibrant green colors. And there I finally got my contact lenses in. Once that begins, I begin the process of adding a base coat to my face, usually a neutral color to even out my skin tone, which makes applying the layers upon layers of eyeshadow that make up the character's color gradient really stand out. You'll see Morgan then coming in adding some shadows to different areas of her face and some different highlights. I always make sure to moisturize throughout this process. It always helps the before and after. I also make sure when I'm adding my base coat foundation to bring it down my neck as well. Now it's time for me to add in the red that begins my color gradient. You'll see me using the main squeeze palette from ColourPop. I begin along the top of my hairline once I have my wig cap on with a dark red, and I begin blending that out towards the middle of my forehead. You'll see Morgan coming in, adding the very last details to her face, some highlights in her nostrils and around her mouth to give it that very snake-like quality, slits around her eyes as well. This finishes out her look with Basil Damascus. Now it's time for me to start blending from my brow down to the top of my cheekbone. This is where I bring in some orange using a Morphe palette as well as another ColourPop palette. ColourPop does a lot of my colors for me. Next, entering in camera left, we have Julia, who is our Amalia Sky, our wonderful cleric of Akadi. Also beginning with a nice moisturizer to do her makeup. Here you will see Julia's Choice palette, the Money Heist palette. You'll see me then bringing in that orange around my eyes and just over the bridge of my nose. Say hi to our Dr. DM! Now it's time for me to finally add in the last color in my color transition. I'll be using the third and final ColourPop palette in my kit, the Aha Honey palette. And this is where I start bringing in the yellow across the end of my nose and right through the edge of my cheekbones as well. I complete this look by adding a lot of product. I layer it as many times as I can to get things as dark as possible so that they will really pop in our studio under all the bright lights that we have. You will see me constantly checking the symmetry of my makeup, using a brush to check and make sure that the left and right side are both equal in color, as well as in how far they come down my face. Now it's time for me to go in and add a little extra detailing around my eyes. I'm sure to highlight the crease of my eyes with a dark purple color similar to the final lip that I will end up with. Now it's time for me to come in and add the final touch to my blend, which is a darker peach color that comes in from the bottom half of my face all the way down to my neck. This helps the orange and yellow blend out to the rest of my skin tone without creating a huge break in between my natural skin tone and the color gradient on the top part of my face. You'll see Julia here prepping for her wig by putting her long hair up in pin curls. This is a technique done to help people with really long hair get into wig caps and wigs. I bring that blend down from around my ears all the way down around my neck to make sure that when I'm in costume, all areas of my skin are covered. I use the Revolution color book to add in a couple extra details and highlights around my face, with some little orange glitter or a little bit of purple in some areas, just to make it fun. And a little bit of Urban Decay Moondust glitter around my eyes to make them pop on camera. Then a touch of gold highlight around my cheekbones and the bridge of my nose. A little bit of yellow eyeliner. And a bit of red mascara. I take this into my eyelashes just to bring out a little extra fire. Julia has now applied her wig cap. I always make sure to clean up around my eyes as I'm in this makeup for quite some time when we film, and I want to make sure I don't have any runs. Checking different lip colors, I had gotten some new makeup before filming this, so it was nice to try some new colors and bring out some new gradients. Now it's time for the best part, putting on the rocks that make up the molten aspect of Vahera's fiery skin. I actually made these rocks by taking polymer clay and shaping them into different forms and baking them so that they would be hard. I then attached them to my skin with spirit gum, using the technique of applying on both the piece and my skin, and then tapping it until it's tacky to apply it. Adding some firm pressure to make sure those stick. They gotta stick for a couple hours. I use my phone as a reference. Now, my makeup isn't perfect every time I do it, and oftentimes it changes. Thankfully, with a character whose skin is molten, it can kind of make up for the fact that it's never quite exactly the same. Julia's coming in with her wig. She usually, once she has it on, does a little bit of braiding with it. However, sometimes wigs can be a little tricky and you need to phone a friend. As the DM says, hydrate, don't dehydrate! One of my favorite things about Green and Garb is we really are a family ensemble. Both Julia and I have the great joy of playing alongside our siblings. Hers is the fearless Dr. DM, and I play alongside John Wellington Wells, my wonderful brother. Also in our group are friends of our Dr. DM, and they have been friends since early grade school, so we really are a family-run team, and we love what we do. Now you can see Julia adding in some of those braids I talked about earlier. She does this just to add a little something extra to her wig. All ready to go! You'll see me here adding in some of the final touches with my rocks. I usually put a couple of them on the side of my nose on the inside. Very little guys. And there you have it, Green Knights, the final look, just minus the lip. I always wait till the last possible second to put it on to make sure it will last as long as it possibly can. Finish with a little bit of setting spray and using a notebook to make sure it's nice and dry. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and as usual, be sure to comment, subscribe, and smite that like button.